Hey guys, Keith here. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Yes, I'm wearing the same shirt I wore last night. I don't want to hear nothing about it. All right, come on. I mean, it's not like I got a date tonight or anything, you know what I mean? Or a job. I got a date with y'all tonight. That's about it. But I've been working today, been doing dishes and cleaning up the kitchen. Oh man, everything looks. The kids were gonna fix supper, and I'm like, "Don't fix supper. You'll mess up my stove and the sink. I cleaned everything. Don't do it. Just use paper plates and let's make sandwiches or something." But we didn't. They cooked. My son cooked some fish and shrimp, so it was pretty good. But anyway, so yeah, I've just been working around here, and no, I haven't had a shower today, so I don't want to hear about it. You know what I mean? I live alone. I ain't been out all day. I didn't see nobody. It doesn't matter. It might matter in this case, though. So I got the question for you ladies. I know what some of y'all are going to say right away. Um, so, and I probably asked this before, but maybe I want to ask it a little differently. I don't know. What are you guys looking for in a guy when you see a guy out somewhere? And like I say, this is more for the ladies because I'm interested in what you ladies are, looking for. But you men can listen in, so it's good for you guys too. So you read the comments and see what the women have to say about this subject here. Okay. So when you're out and about and you see a guy, right? And now let's face it, when we see, guy, girl, whatever we're interested in, okay, the first thing that, we have to be attracted to that person, I think, all right? Now, they don't have to be a supermodel, they don't have to be anything like that. But they have to be attractive to us. I mean, there's a lot of supermodels that maybe aren't attractive to me. I mean, they're not yeah, they're pretty and they're built good and all that, but they're not. I'm not attracted to them. There's certain. Everybody's got a certain type or whatever, and so it doesn't matter that they're trim and fit and good looking and their hair is all in place and their makeup and all that whatever. It doesn't matter. It's are you attracted to them? So it's the same way, you ladies with men and. I know a lot of times we're like, oh, I just want somebody with a good personality. Bull. You want somebody that looks good to you. Yes, you want them to have a good personality too, but you don't want some hateful guy, that looks good, but looks like Tom Cruise, but man, he's rude as can be. Um, but that's the first thing you see. It's kind of how it usually is, right? You're out and about, and you see somebody. And I know we've talked about this, meeting somebody at a grocery store or at Walmart or whatever. That's a tough gig to land, really, because unless you get into a conversation, which sometimes you can. I get in conversations every day, all day. I get in a conversation with. I walked a lady to her car yesterday. And me and my son, I carried her. I mean, I didn't carry her groceries. My son pulled her. She got one of them bins, one of them plastic bins, but it was a big one with rollers and everything. She had a handle on it, and she was pushing her cart. And she'd seen me at Salvation Army and everything, and so she said something to me at Walmart. I didn't even see her there, and we talked at Salvation Army. Just she was coming by, and I was in her way, and she was like, "Excuse me," and then she came back, "Excuse me" again. And so anyway, we got into conversation a little bit. And then at Walmart, she was like, "Oh, you didn't find anything at Salvation Army or whatever." And so, anyway, she was older lady. And it wouldn't matter if she would have been a younger lady, older lady. It would have been a guy. I wouldn't have cared. I mean, I've helped people at Walmart. I've helped the Walmart guy load a TV in somebody's vehicle. I like to help people, right? Now I'm not bragging about it. I just, I like to help. And so we offered to help her, and we walked her to her car, and I held her cart, and my son put in the bin and all that stuff. So I get into conversations with people all the time, but I very seldom get into conversations with somebody that I'm attracted to, like I want to go out with. You know what I mean? And so, I get that. Sometimes you may get in conversations, but it seems like that person that you're attracted to, either you don't get in a conversation or sometimes you try and then you realize they're not into you or they're not, they're creeped out or whatever. Like, oh, some strange guy's talking to me. So us guys have a little harder time, I think, approaching women because, especially nowadays, people are. Now, this lady was like, she was way too trusting, to be honest with you, because we walked her all the way to her car and she didn't know us from Adam. She didn't have a clue. But luckily we were nice guys and she got lucky. But it's just unfortunately people are some people are just over nice, and that's great. I say too nice. I shouldn't say too nice. They're too trusting sometimes. We have to be careful nowadays. I think any of us, guys and girls, all of us out and about with people, you just don't know what people are up to sometimes. But you can be too cautious too and miss out on a good thing, and say, oh, I don't know, why is he being nice to me, he's up to something. So we have to be careful with that too. But I'm just curious what you ladies, what it is. I mean, you see somebody that's attractive and you go, man, he looks like that vintage dad guy. He's good looking, And I'm kidding. Don't shut it off. There's still good stuff coming. Okay, don't pause it. But just kidding about that part. So you see somebody you're attracted to, and it's like, hey man, he's nice looking, and you get in, you maybe get in a conversation, or you try to get in a conversation. What's the next thing? What else is there? What are you looking for in somebody? And maybe you don't meet them out and about somewhere, because those are some hard ones to really work out. I think it's hard enough to find somebody. We talked about work. Sometimes that can get a little hairy there and a little tricky to date somebody at work. But at least at work, you're with somebody a lot. You get to know them a lot. You may be a little more about them, and you're a little more trusting with those people. And you're able to be a little more free with them, because you're not maybe flirting with them at the time. You just get to be friends, and then you go, oh, there's an attraction there, kind of. So you get to know them a little bit more. But or at church, you see somebody. But what's the after the attraction? What's the next thing you're looking for? And I'll tell you what I look for. And like I said, I probably said this before, but I just wanted to maybe reevaluate this whole thing, and maybe get y'all thinking about it again or whatever. Some of you haven't maybe seen my channel or seen my videos, or maybe forgot about that video. I'm pretty sure I made one like that, but I could be wrong, because I did Bedtime Blues last night, and I thought I'd done one about it, and I looked and I hadn't. So, or I didn't find one anyway. But so maybe I didn't do this. I just thought about it. The next thing I look for, is a sense of humor. Okay, I look for somebody that's humor, and I don't mean they got to be a comedian. I don't need somebody to tell me jokes and do stand up. It's like, I walk in a room, they grab a mic and go, "Hey, did y'all hear the one about the?" I don't need her to tell me jokes. It's not about that. It's just being lighthearted. I think just being able to, to laugh. And I joke with people all the time. Like I say, when I see people out at Walmart, people I've never met. My kids are like, they used to say that. They don't do it anymore. They used to say, did you know them? Who's that? I said, I don't know. I just met them just now. And they were standing there when I met them, But I talk to people like I know them, because that's what I do. And I joke with them like I know them. And so I think just having somebody that likes to be jovial, and it's just fun, because, I've been on dates with people that I might have been attracted to. They might have been, nice. They were nice people, but they weren't humorous at all. There wasn't no laughter going on. Okay. And not because they didn't laugh at my jokes. It's just, they just weren't, they just weren't humorous, And so you get into some kind of weird stuff. I was dating a girl one time, and I was in her truck, and she was driving. And this song came on it was a song by Lone Star called Heartbroke. What was it called? Heartbroke Every Day or something like that. And I loved the song. It was like, man, it was great. And it just come on. She reached over and flipped the channel, and I was like, oh, I like that song. She said, I don't. And that was it. It wasn't like, oh, I'm sorry. No, it was, And I know that's not really joking, but she wasn't even being nice at that point. It's like, whatever. And so I'm just like, but I like to joke around. I like to laugh and have fun. And so, like I say, not looking for somebody that's a comedian. I don't need that, but just somebody's lighthearted. And then somebody's just easy to talk to. Somebody you can have a conversation with, where if there's a pause, if there's some silence there, it's not weird. It's not awkward. It's okay. And I know that silence can be awkward. I get that. No matter who you are or how long you've known somebody, sometimes it can get awkward. But I think just being able to just have a conversation and not feel forced, not feel like you got to try to impress somebody, or you got to tell them, all the greatest things that you've done or anything, but you can just be you, And that's what I love about this channel, and I appreciate y'all allowing me to be me, because I'm just me, you know. And some days I'm sad, and I let you know, and some days I'm a goofball, and I let you know. And I'm a goofball every day, but some days I'm just a little, you know, maybe I'm a little more low key, you know. But I'm always, you know, joking around and not serious very often, you know. My mother-in-law told me that one time. She was like, when my kids were young, you know, because I just joke with them all the time, you know. And I told my son today, it's like, just stuff like this, you know, it's not necessarily funny stuff, but it's just like I said, there's two things I was going to tell you today. I was like, and there were two things I was going to tell him, but then as I was trying to think what they were, I was like, the first one is, I don't like you. He was like, oh, okay. I said, I love you. I don't like you, but I love you. You know, and so I just, you know, just stuff like that. But I would do that when they were young. I was like, what are y'all doing? You quit doing that, you know. And of course, you know, I wasn't serious, you know, and they knew that. And my mother-in-law was like, they're never going to know when you're serious. And I said, they know when I'm serious. Trust me. But I like to have fun with people. And so I think just being able to have a conversation with somebody and be yourself is a key component to a relationship. And obviously, if you can laugh and laugh at yourself, laugh at each other, you know, you don't want to laugh at them. You know what I mean? You know, that's a funny that pimple on your nose is funny. You know, you don't want to probably laugh about that kind of thing. What you do to your hair? Good Lord, that's terrible. You know, there's probably some things you want to, you know, that's not funny. But kind of like Seinfeld, they're always, you know, being critical about things. So you got to be careful about that. But yeah, just curious what you ladies kind of look for in a guy. You know, hopefully the attraction. Do you look at their body? Do you check them out? Kind of, you know, and you know, is there a body type you look for? Is there, you know, you like a beard? Do you like, you know, my hair is getting kind of long now, but you like long hair? You like short hair? You like bald? You know, do you like what do you look for? And maybe you don't care. Maybe if they're kind of attractive, they kind of, you know, catch your attention, and then they have the other whatever qualities you're looking for. They have that once you get into a conversation or you go out with them. I mean, you got to have a little conversation, I think, before you go out, obviously, to kind of see if you even want to go out, because a bad date can be a long time. It may be only a couple hours, but if it ain't something you want to be on, I've been on them. And once you're on, it's just like it's an eternity, and you're like, oh my, how can I shut this down without being hateful? And unfortunately, I wasn't ever very good at doing that. So I might be better today. I wouldn't be hateful, but I might be like, well, I hate to cut this short, but I gotta go. You know, and so I know one girl I went out with, and I took her to the good Lord. I went to like Lone Star Steakhouse, you know. And we'd already planned on doing that. It was kind of a blind date kind of thing, you know. And we went, and then we was going to a comedy show, and you know, I was done before we got to the Lone Star. To be honest with you, I was done. But you know, I'd already kind of made plans and promises. So anyway, but I got into a whole lot of other things there. But I was just curious what y'all look for. What some key things that you are like, man, I gotta have this. I want this, you know, and you know, and maybe you know, you want him to own his own Ferrari. You know, I don't know what it is. That's okay too. You know, do you have a Ferrari? Nope. Okay, never mind. Thank you. You know, you're shopping at the Goodwill, for crying out loud. What do you think? You know, is Ferraris out front? Nah, probably not. But I've seen some Mercedes in the lot there a few times. But not mine, but I've seen a few people's. But anyway, well, listen, I appreciate y'all tuning in and letting me be myself. And I hope you're yourself everywhere you go and have a good time wherever. And anyway, if you got any comments, please leave them down below. And if you want to like this video, you can sure do that, and subscribe if you haven't already. Turn on notifications. You get notifications every time there's a new video, and then you got to listen to me again. And but you can fast forward, you can pause, you can stop, you can unsubscribe, you can block me if you want. I don't know how that works, but anyway, you can. And so anyway, I hope you're having a great one. We'll see y'all in the next one. Thanks.